guys, I hope everyone's day is going well, and today we've got a really insane and innovative yo-yo to review today. This right here is the Enso YoYos domain expansion. This yo-yo is honestly unlike anything I've ever seen before and is truly a feat of engineering. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the review. All right, so this is my second review of the 3 yo-yos that Enso YoYos recently sent me. They sent me 3 yo-yos to review, and I've just been kind of releasing these reviews around when the yo-yo releases. And so I've had this yo-yo for quite a while, and I've definitely formed some pretty concrete opinions about it that I'm excited to share with you. And so since this is part 2 out of 3, there will actually be another review coming in the future, probably in a couple of months when they release their next yo-yo. But as usual, I want to thank Enso YoYos for always supporting the channel and making these videos possible. They sent me this yo-yo along with the 2 others, so I'm super appreciative to them. They've been honestly amazing throughout all of these years, and I've absolutely loved reviewing their yo-yos because they're really good. So all their links, contact information, and storefront are in the description down below. As usual, check them out when you finish up with this video. There's some great people over there. But let's talk a little bit more specifically about this yo-yo. So this yo-yo was actually announced quite a while back in July of 2024. They made a kind of super limited release of these that people could purchase at Worlds, but now here in February, this is the real release. So in order to get a baseline idea as to what we're working with right here, let me go ahead and throw the specs of this yo-yo on the next screen, and then we'll kind of dive in and analyze these. Alright, so for starters, diameter of 55.61 millimeters, nothing too crazy there, I call that pretty standard. Width of 45.82, again, pretty standard for yo-yos in this generation. The weight of 66 grams is a little bit more on the heavy side, I would say. Most yo-yos these days are coming in around 63 grams, and you might think that a 3-gram difference isn't much, but in the yo-yo world, it honestly does matter quite a bit. Now, the elephant in the room, the material. This yo-yo has a huge titanium inner ring, specifically grade 5 titanium, and then the body itself is 7068 aluminum. 7068 aluminum is a really nice high grade of aluminum. It's a very durable grade of aluminum, and I personally think that 7068 aluminum yo-yos just play better. I don't know what it is about it, but it just feels nice. And then the price for this one is coming in at $220. Definitely a super expensive yo-yo, but this yo-yo is also made from some pretty expensive materials. All right, so off the bat, just based on specs, there's nothing too crazy, except I'd say this yo-yo is a little bit heavier than most yo-yos, and then the materials that this thing is made of are super awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the yo-yo itself and its design. All right, so this is definitely a very unique looking yo-yo. I personally kind of got this black and silver colorway. They also have one with iridescent rings and a kind of polished silver body, which looks awesome. But man, I am in love with this colorway that I got. I think it looks so unique and so eye-catching. Whenever I show it to some of my friends, they're like, what yo is that? Tell me what it is. And so in general, I'm a big fan of the appearance of this. I think the black and silver just complement each other so well. Very sleek and minimalistic design. So let's start out with the shape. The shape of this yo-yo is awesome. I absolutely love this. I am a huge fan of these types of shapes that are kind of more in that H area where it's got those pretty beefy rims and then just such a nice slope down to the bearing that makes this yo-yo just super comfortable. But yes, a couple little subtle cuts that lead down to some really nice and low walls, and this thing is just so comfortable to hold in the hand. Now moving on over to the cup, this is an insanely large titanium ring. I don't even know if you can kind of call it a rim at this point. It takes up so much real estate on the cup there. But yes, this entire silver gray part is titanium. That is insane. I literally have never seen a yo-yo company do this kind of thing before. And then in the center, we kind of have a flat center, which is that 7068 aluminum metal, and a nub in the very middle. So that to me is just so eye-catching. It looks amazing, and this is really just such a feat of engineering that they were able to pull something like this off. It's also worth noting that the titanium rim actually does wrap over just a little bit to the top of the shape there, so you'll see it's not just implanted in the yo-yo, it wraps over the rim just a little bit there, so that's a nice touch. Overall, this yo-yo looks awesome. It's a super clean, minimalistic design, but the subtleties of it are what catch people's attention, and I think it looks just amazing. All right, so how does the domain expansion play? This, guys, has been one of my favorite yo-yos over the last few months. And yes, that's true. Over the last few months, I have played with hardly any other yo-yo than this one, and that's saying something. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, I've had this yo-yo for a while, and I've really been able to kind of play and toy around with it so I can give you guys some pretty concrete opinions, and man, is this thing fun. I literally over here have a massive display of yo-yos, as you can see. That right there, and I have not been able to put this yo-yo down specifically. This yo-yo has honestly just been so much fun to play with, and it also is a great performer. So let me get a little more specific with you guys. For starters, right off the bat, this yo just feels so good when you throw it down. I think it's a combination of the materials that were used and just the great shape that this yo-yo comes in, but something about it for me personally, I just love the way it feels when you rip it off the string. It's got so much power, so much stability, but it doesn't feel like a stale competition yo-yo. That really nice like kind of curvy shape just makes this yo-yo play so friendly and enjoyable. I will say this is not the lightest yo-yo in the world. For me personally, I really enjoyed playing with it, but if you are only into really floaty yo-yos or really light ones, then this probably isn't a good choice for you, especially with the price point, but I had a ton of fun with this thing. It's such a reassuring and very comfortable yo-yo to play. Whenever I was kind of rolling through my tricks, I could mess up, I could touch the yo-yo, and it still would have a ton of spin left, which is mainly because of that titanium ring. But in general, I just found this yo-yo to be such a high performer, but also a fun yo-yo. And it's that constant balance that so many companies try to get perfect, and I think that Enso yo-yos really hit the nail on the head with this one. All the time, companies try to balance the feeling of a fun yo and a really good performer. And they'll hit the extremes. They'll make a yo that's really good for competition, but man, like, honestly, after you throw it a couple days, you're like, this is just boring, it's not enjoyable. And then the other end of the spectrum, there's yos that feel really fun and are really enjoyable to throw, but like they stop spinning or they just aren't that great with stability. This yo-yo is the balance between the two that no company has really been ever able to achieve. I have had so much fun with this thing that I literally haven't picked up another yo-yo over the last few months. So in my opinion, fast tricks are fine with this yo-yo. I could say like I could crank it up to some decent speeds. Again, it's not the most floaty and light yo-yo, but I didn't really feel like it was lagging behind it all, but it's just not like the fastest yo-yo in the world. Whips, hops, slacks, all of that good stuff was super easy. Again, because this shape is super accommodating, it's got a massive gap there, so no issues there whatsoever. I thought tech tricks were really solid with this yo-yo because it just spins for so long. It's got so much stability that when you're in those more dense string configurations, or maybe you have a couple layers of string wrapped around the bearing, the yo-yo just performs really well. It spins for a long time, it doesn't die out on you, and it holds its plane, so you can really get through some of those more intricate tech tricks. I thought binds and regens were fantastic with this yo-yo. Very tight response system, but not like snaggy, which was super nice. Very consistent response. And again, the way that this yo-yo just binds and comes back to your hand is just so nice. If you don't buy this yo-yo, you at least find an opportunity to try it out so you can experience what it's like. It is such a fun yo-yo in my opinion. Horizontal was actually super solid with this yo-yo. I think that the shape lends itself to be really useful for horizontal, and it also just, it has so much stability that it can stay on plane. So I don't have the best horizontal tricks in the world, but for my tricks personally, it did just fine. And then lastly, grinds were really good with this yo-yo. I'd say finger grinds especially is this yo-yo's forte, specifically in this colorway where it's got that kind of bead blasted finish around the body. They just spin for a ridiculously long time. You can do thumb and talon grinds. I wouldn't say that they're the best in the world, but I'm personally not doing too many of those in this day and age. And then lastly, finger spins are actually kind of decent with this yo-yo because the cup itself is actually a bead blasted 7068 aluminum, so it still honestly feels really nice when you're doing finger spins. You're not gonna like lock into a finger spin because there's that nub in the middle, so you'll rotate around the center for a while, but in general, I thought finger spins were pretty solid. All right, so in conclusion, this is a really good, really expensive, fun, and competent yo-yo. In my opinion, it does a fantastic job of finding that perfect middle area where the yo-yo is still a great performer, but it's just fun, it's enjoyable, you can play for it months on end and not get bored of it. I'm a big fan of this yo-yo. I know that it is a crazy price, but do recognize that it's made with some pretty wild materials, titanium and a high grade of aluminum. Combining the two is not easy, and also making it a good yo-yo takes a lot of engineering. Overall, I'm super impressed with what Enso yo-yo put together. They're always pushing the boundary with what's possible with yo-yos these days, so super appreciative to them. Check out all of their links. It's all in the description down below. All right, that's about it for me. Hope you guys all enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and also if you guys are new here and haven't seen my videos before, hit that subscribe button so you can see whenever I post a new video. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.